Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unleashed. Yeah, this is not Unleashed. Unleashed is no more, guys. This is now the Singleton Show. We just decided to change up the name. I don't need to bore you with the backstory, but pretty much the Unleashed podcast started as the podcast that I was not going to talk about Celtics, was not going to talk about the NBA. It was going to be the unleashing of me. I can talk about other things, right? Well, and I was doing another Boston sports podcast at the time, so it felt repetitive to do another Celtics one. But all of a sudden, pretty quickly, realized that I love talking about Celtics, love talking about the NBA and the sports world. So we rolled with the name Unleashed, but it became a Celtics podcast, and that just didn't fit. And you know, I wanted a little bit of a change, and we just decided to self-name the show the Singleton Show. And, you know, hopefully you guys like the new logo. Hopefully you guys don't mind the change. Like I said, it's going to be the same feed and everything, but not to bore you guys because I know you don't give a damn about that, like not even close to caring about it. I did want to let you guys know, even if there's two of you guys out there that care, okay, what happened here? Now I'm seeing the Singleton Show pop up on my feed on Apple or on Spotify, or I'm seeing it recommended on YouTube. What the hell is this? You know, I like the Unleashed podcast. Now the two of you guys know. But for all of you guys that don't care what we're talking about today, we're going to get into a little bit of Josh Richardson talk. I want to talk Marcus Smart. I guess those two guys both didn't look too great in that Celtics preseason opener, so we're going to get into talking about them. And then I also want to talk and kind of rehash that NBA, you know, vaccine-related video that I posted on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube. It was titled, like, should the Nets trade Kyrie Irving? But before that, I gave a little bit of my thoughts on how the vaccine and, you know, how that toxic sort of topic has tied into the NBA now. And some of the comments on that, you'd think that I like just made a absolute political statement, ruffled some feathers clearly. So we're going to get into that too. But before we get into anything, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, listening on Spotify, make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button and leave us a rating. You guys don't even realize how much it helps, like, especially on YouTube with the likes and the comments. Like, it really helps get this show and get the content that we have on these sort of different forms of media, like, out there to other people, and I do truly appreciate it. I love seeing the feedback, even if it is constructive, so make sure to do that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video again if you're watching on YouTube. And then before we get into any of today's topics, I want to let you guys know that the Singleton Show, now the Unleashed podcast, partnered with these guys. But yeah, we've migrated everything over to the Singleton Show. The Singleton Show today is brought to you by the NBA Store. Now, I feel like I don't even have to do an ad read for this. I shouldn't even have to say, you know what? This is why you should head over to the NBA Store. You guys probably know why you should head over to the NBA Store. It's the NBA Store. Like, the official products of the NBA. If you want to get official jerseys, official t-shirts, shorts, everything, it's at the NBA Store, and you can go shop by team. Head over to the Celtics page. The link will be in the description, and you can use the code NBA25, which is a great deal, NBA25, to save free shipping on all orders over $25. That's $25. Like, anything you put in your cart is going to be $25. So you might as well head over there, use that link in the description, and that code again is NBA25. Using that link, you'll see the promo code actually pop up on the screen, so you don't even need to remember it. But yeah, use that link in the description. It helps support the show, and obviously you guys can get some legitimate, officially licensed, official team gear. Get your favorite player jersey. Get anything you want over there. NBA Store. Use the link in the description. Whether you're watching or listening, it will be there, and then that promo code for free shipping over $25 is NBA25. Now, getting into the episode, the first thing I wanted to talk about was Josh Richardson. And I was bummed. Like I've been a Josh Richardson rider this offseason. Like, I thought that he, and still think, I don't want to give away my take yet because I'm not worried about him, but I still think that he's going to be the third best scorer on this team. But I'm not going to lie. Seeing what he did, or lack thereof, that opening night, and how he did not look involved in the offense or anything like that, that's going to be pretty damn tough for me to ride that all season, saying he's going to be the third best scorer based on what I saw. But like I said, I'm not worried about him yet. The one thing I will say, if you watch that game back, which I did, and you focus on Josh Richardson's defense, that dude is ready to play some D. Like, he didn't get the credit he deserved from that game because he stunk out loud on offense, but he played some serious defense, and that's something I like to see, because that's partially, if not the majority of the reason why they went out and got him. right? Like he's a dirt dog on the defensive end. So I was thrilled to see that the second time around, because when watching that live, you're kind of thinking, oh, dude, this guy kind of stinks. Like, what's he doing? He's not in the game. He doesn't seem involved. But then if you actually kind of, break it down, he actually didn't have that bad of a game. Like plus minus definitely aided towards his way, like played a lot of minutes, made a lot of good decisions. We just don't want to see a 1 for 8 sort of field goal percentage from him, right? Especially as me, the dummy in the room right now, saying that he's going to be, and I still believe it, the third best scorer on this team. I can't be seeing that stuff. So I am not worried about Josh Richardson on this team. I think that, like plenty of new guys, it will take a little while to start to form a relationship with these guys, right? Like, this is a brand new team, brand new culture, brand new coach, everything. I think I just said coach. I meant to say coach. Brand new everything. You got to give them, and that was the first preseason game. Like, we can't judge that too harshly, but you got to give them some time, because this is so much different than last year, and things are going to be so much different than last year. Like, there's no chance that they're anything like last year just because of the makeup of the team. You now have a new GM, albeit he was involved last year, Brad Stevens. You have Ime Udoka as your coach. You have a really, really different coaching staff. You have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown already getting better and better and better. You have Marcus Smart, Robert Williams getting extensions, and then you have all these new guys. Aaron Nesmith and Peyton Pritchard, guys that were on the team last year, looking like they're taking a step up and more responsibility, ownership. This is going to be such a new team and such a different vibe that I don't see how you can justly say, oh, Josh Richardson's going to work his way out of the rotation. Josh Richardson stinks, because he didn't stink. He just played bad offense, but he played really good defense in that preseason game. So I'm not worried about him at all. I do want to mention, though, sort of his, I guess, competition here is Aaron Nesmith. Like, this team isn't overly deep at that shooting guard position. And Aaron Nesmith, the second-year guy, pretty much won that Celtics game for them. I know Romeo Langford hit the last second, I guess it was 13 seconds left on the clock shot, but Aaron Nesmith scored, it was like 8 or 10, I want to say 8 straight points in that fourth quarter. I think Josh Richardson finally made a bucket, and then Aaron Nesmith just turned it on. A couple threes, a nice steal and lay-in, like 8 straight points from him, and he looked good. Now, you look at that, and you're like, okay, what did he have, like 11 points or 10, something like that, right? I don't have the box score up in front of me. You wouldn't think, oh, my God, this dude's a stud by that box score, but if you watch that game, Aaron Nesmith looked like a guy that legitimately could help this team every single night, based on that sort of, 6-minute span in which he went off, which is really good to see, because as good as he was at times last year, hustling and making steals, offensive rebounds, getting his nose in there, maybe where it doesn't belong and stuff, but really, extending plays, that's great. But why did the Celtics draft Aaron Nesmith? It wasn't so that he could be a defender. It wasn't so that he could dive on the ground or dive into the stands saving a ball. If you think that that's why they drafted Aaron Nesmith, then you don't know basketball, because they drafted him as one of, if not the best shooter in that draft class, right? He only played a few games at Vandy and then had great percentages and whatnot, but they drafted him based on that. They didn't draft him thinking, oh, this guy can lock up on defense, or this guy's going to, show some grit. No, they drafted him as a shooter. It was amazing to see that he would get playing time and get minutes outside of being able to shoot well, because he didn't shoot too well last year, but he was earning minutes by the end of the year because he was diving, because he was extending plays, getting loose balls and offensive rebounds. That's great. But this is finally, we're seeing this summer league, and now we're seeing in that first preseason game that Aaron Nesmith finally sort of stepping into that world of, okay, I can also do what I'm supposed to be good at. It's great to earn minutes not doing that. That's awesome. But you got to wait for that second shoe to fall, and that second shoe is being the shooter of this team, being an offensive threat on this team. You can only dive for so many balls. It's going to earn you minutes, but it's not going to help the team as much as it might seem like it might. But scoring 8 straight points in a fourth quarter close game, that's going to help the team. And I know there's people out there being like, oh my God, this is just preseason. It doesn't matter. Like, I was playing golf. I play golf with my dad every Wednesday. And, we see each other once a week, so we're talking, and he's like, yeah, I fell asleep in the preseason game, and he goes, I wasn't really impressed. I was like, what do you mean? That preseason game didn't feel like a preseason game to me. And he was like, well, what do you think? Like, it's just a preseason, like, first quarter was cool, maybe the end of the game, whatever, but he got bored of it, and I was like, that's wild, because I was glued to that game, and it's weird because it was a preseason game, and I'm one to say preseason doesn't matter, but that was a fun game to watch, like fun as all hell. Maybe it's because Aaron Nesmith went off, maybe it's because Langford hit the game winner technically, maybe it's because Jaylen Brown was going off, maybe it was because all these things were new and there was a comeback win and they have a different culture, whatever. I was glued to that game, and it was really good to pluck from that the positives that we can notice. Aaron Nesmith looked really, really good. Juancho, one of my guys, I think he looked good. People say he was nothing out there. I think he started and did everything he needed to do. Had a couple good buckets. He's long. He extended a couple plays, offensive rebounds. Dennis Schroeder, another new guy, comes in and just looked confident. Like he was playing with a swagger. You know, like he didn't have the best stat line, didn't score the ball. But when he came in, he just looked like he belonged there. And we'll talk about Marcus Smart in a minute, but Dennis Schroeder looked like he wants that starting spot 100%. But then you saw, like Peyton Pritchard hit a big three. Romeo Langford obviously had, that three that won it. Like, it was great to see this new team sort of fire on all cylinders, which is wild because I can't remember the last time this team fired on all cylinders, right? Like, you can't remember when, Nesmith did hit the threes he needed to. Or, the new guys did make an impact, even if it was just on one end of the floor like Josh Richardson did. It was really, really, really nice to see that. And I'm excited about that because it's just promising, right? Like if they went out there and lost that game and looked unengaged and uninterested and like they didn't care much of like they did last year, you'd be like, oh my God, this is preseason and we're already bored of this. We're going to be in for a terrible year just like we did see last year. But I don't think we're getting that. Like I that looked like a team that was ready to go and having fun out there, like smiles, new squad, high fives, all that. I hope it stays. Man. But one guy that I wanted to see more out of, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Marcus Smart played that bad. I think he got a little banged up in it too, right? But he came in, and he's supposed to be the point guard of this team. I've made videos about him on the YouTube channel. Go check out the Guy Boston Sports YouTube if you're listening to this podcast and not watching. If you're watching, make sure to go check out that Marcus Smart video. But Marcus Smart, like a couple lazy passes right away, took a couple threes that I didn't love, made a couple smart passes. I like the ball moving a little bit more here, and I know people will be like, oh, they only had 19 assists. Yeah, 19 assists isn't a good number. I'm not an idiot. That's not a good number, but they also had a lot. They shot so poor. They shot like 30% from the field. So they missed a lot of shots that would have been assists, obviously. But Marcus Smart, one preseason game in, gave me a little bit of worry when it comes to, is he going to be this team's point guard? And that's just me being completely honest. Like, I watched him, I was like, oh, that's a guy that I don't know if he can play, 30 minutes of point guard. And why do I say that? Because I watched him play 2 minutes in the beginning of the game and look sloppy and kind of turn the ball over. But, I mean, we're hoping, I guess, right, that's going to be a total sort of time thing, that we have to give him some time and let him evolve and develop into being a true point guard, because he was and has been in the past, and that's what I pretty much said in my video when we talked about it. I'm willing to give Marcus Smart that time because we saw one preseason game, and he did end up looking all right. It wasn't like the dude stunk out loud all over the place, but I just can't say that, he reassured me that this dude's going to be a fantastic, I guess, point guard for this team. Now, I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, he sucks, like because he doesn't. He played fine when he was in there, but those two notable turnovers really were a little something that said, oh, you know what, man, I didn't love seeing that. So we got some issues, I think. So I don't know. Yeah, we're pulling it up now. Marcus Smart. So Marcus Smart went for he played 23 minutes, 2 of 6 from the field. He had 4 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Like, that's just not exactly what we're looking for. 0 of 3 from 3. I just don't love to see that, I don't love to see that. But then you look like a guy like Peyton Pritchard. He had his 9, like, this is a point guard that should be competing with him, right? 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 points. Like, Peyton Pritchard outplayed Marcus Smart at a point guard position there, and he played 2 less minutes. So I'm not saying we're going to see Peyton Pritchard take Marcus Smart's role, but damn, if you keep seeing Peyton Pritchard play better than Marcus Smart, is Udoka going to be like, oh, no, I'm going to ride with Marcus Smart? No, they'll figure out a way to get him in and start him and probably still play him. But Marcus Smart's supposed to be this team's point guard. If you can't do that, they're going to have to find another point guard. And then I think that makes them incredibly thin at the point guard position. Same exact thing with the big men. People want to start Al Horford and Robert Williams. I question you then, well, then what do you do if you start Robert Williams or start Al Horford at the same time, I guess? Because you don't want to go to Cantor. You don't want to necessarily have to rely on Juancho as a big man off the bench. You don't want to go to my buddy Grant, even though Grant did play all right. Like, they don't have the big men to spare, even though I do love this big man unit. They have to start one of those guys and bring the other one off the bench, which it was Robert Williams, and I don't mind that. He didn't play well, but I don't really mind that. So that's all Celtics related that I have. The last thing I wanted to get into today is about that vaccine sort of video that I posted and some of the comments. Like, I even said, guys, I don't want to make this a political statement because I'm not knowledgeable enough in the politics of the vaccine or the science of the vaccine. The only thing I was commenting on is how it relates to the NBA. And all the comments like, oh, you can't tell people what to do. It's freedom of... If you watch that video, which if you're listening on Apple or listening on Spotify, go find it on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube. It's the Kyrie Irving traded, because of the vaccine video that we posted. And if you're watching on YouTube, go check that out if you haven't, because all you have to watch is my intro to know where I stand on it. Like, my take was, I'm not going to talk to you about should you or shouldn't you get the vaccine. Like, my opinion is that it's your choice, right? So after I say that, how is someone going to argue that I'm arguing either way? Like, I'm already up front telling you, like, I don't really care if you get it or not. Like, I had COVID, so I had the antibodies, have the antibodies, and still got the vaccine. So if someone were to ask me, are you, like, pro-vaccine or anti? I obviously am pro because I got it, but that doesn't mean I'm anti. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, I'm not smart enough in the science vein of this to say, oh, I don't trust the science or anything like that. No, I trust the science, whatever. And on the opposite side, it's like if someone's sitting next to me and they go, hey, I don't have the vaccine, I don't go, oh my God, stay away. No. If someone's, playing by the rules and obeying the guidelines that they have in whatever state you're in, then okay. Like, I'm fine with you being there. Like, I got the vaccine. Unless you're completely being an idiot about COVID and almost like trying to get in, doing stupid things, then whatever. Like, it's a personal choice. But the issue was that you guys heard that. And then I said, I want to tie this to the NBA, though. I'm not talking politics, but people took that, clipped it, and ran with it. And it's funny because you forget that my first line in all of that opinionated talk is that I don't really care if you want to get it or not. Like, I got it, so clearly that's where my opinion lies. But it's your choice. The thing that I wanted to talk about in that video, and which I talked about, but people completely disregarded it, I guess, is that the NBA world, and Kyrie Irving being the example of this, is that if the NBA world and stadiums don't allow players to play because they don't have the vaccine inside, like Brooklyn, that type of thing, and then the team or the NBA, whoever says it, says, okay, well, if you're not going to play, you're not going to get paid for those games. I don't see why there's a problem with that. And my biggest take is that it's still up to Kyrie Irving, knowing all the information, and other players, but I'm using him as an example. It's still completely up to him if he wants to get the vaccine after knowing all of the information. If he's totally dead set against it because of science or because of any spiritual beliefs or anything like that, right? Then that's great. But if he also knows, hey, Kyrie, you're not going to get paid for the half of the games that you don't play because, we play home games in Brooklyn here, then if he knows that and still wants to say, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to get the vaccine, then at least he has the knowledge. But I just don't want to see him or other NBA players making that decision and then crying wolf and saying whatever, being like, oh, no, I still think that I should get paid. I should get paid. No, you have your information. And for whatever reason, it makes so much sense to me because I know there's guaranteed money. I know there's salary. But if we were to draw an analogy to someone working at like an ice cream shop or whatever, and they're an hourly worker and they say, you know what, I'm not going to go into work today. Would the ice cream shop pay them for when they were supposed to be there? No, not even close. So if an NBA player is told, you will not make money if you don't play this game, why is there a fuss about it? It's not like they do that after the fact. It's not like after the season they retroactively take half your money and say, hey, because you didn't play, we're going to take this money. You have all the notice in the world of this happening. If it were to happen, and you still don't want to play, to be like, okay, you know what? I made my bet. I made my decision. I had the information necessary. So that's what I don't get. That was my big point of the video, is that if the NBA or if the team were to say, we're not going to pay you if you don't play, and you still don't play, then you got told that to your face. How can you complain about it? And if the money doesn't matter, like I don't think it's going to matter for Kyrie, then that's great. Then that means he's still making his own personal decision with all the information. I just don't want to see him, go and complain after the fact. And that's my biggest take on it, right? Like, it's like if you hear that you're going to lose X amount of millions of dollars, maybe if that matters to you, you will go and get the vaccine, which doesn't seem like it's fair, but it's still the choice that you made. right? Like, you're not forced to do anything. Kyrie Irving has been told he probably won't make money for those games type of thing, and he still says, okay, well, I believe in this vaccine side of it strong enough that the money's not going to matter to me. So good, he's still making that personal choice. I just don't know why people fault the NBA or the team individually or the owners saying that, they might not play or pay players that don't play. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here. Maybe I'm just, like, siding with the owners a little bit too much or something. But to me, it's like, no play, no pay. And that just makes total sense. Like, guess what? I'm not here to sway anyone's opinion on the vaccine. I'm not here to shove anything political down someone's throat. Like, that's just not me. It probably never will be me. But I can debate the NBA. And to me, I stand pretty strongly with that. If you have all the information and and are told to your face that you won't get paid for games you don't play in, and then you don't play in a game, I don't know how you can go and cry and say, oh, no, I should have gotten paid, because someone told you right to your face that, hey, this is the deal. I don't know if you want to factor that in or weigh it into your decision, so on and so forth. But that's my take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, or you can tweet at me at FGuyBoston. This was episode number 115 of the Ev Singleton Show, but it's the inaugural Ev Singleton Show, I guess. So let me know what you guys think, and do you like the new logo up here? I hope you guys do. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.